Welcome along to the weekend preview. It is the final round of top flight fixtures and the title race is still to be decided. Either Manchester City or Liverpool will be crowned champions on Sunday. Pep Guardiola's side are just one win away from bringing the Premier League title home again. But we begin with the fascinating title race as Manchester City take on Aston Villa. Let's hear from both managers, Pep Guardiola and Liverpool legend Steven Gerrard.
Football is a game. A game means unpredictable things, luck, unluck, okay, 1,000 million things you cannot control. So the way we play and the quality of the players we have, we are most of the time in the burst to win because we play to win and we are most of the time closer. But there are aspects you cannot control. Even you want it, you cannot control because it's a game. Football is a game, and when you use the power game, is something can happen, and that's why you have to put it in the right measure to say, okay, we're going to try, we're going to, of course, we have incredible desire to win. We will be, just in case we can do it, we'll be incredibly happy. But after 1 or 2 or 3 days celebration with our people, it's continue to start again.
We've got 3 massive points to play for. We've got an opportunity to finish on a high at the end of the season. It'd be nice if we can reward our supporters with something at the weekend. In terms of Liverpool, I totally understand and respect the external noise and the questions that have been coming my way for some time. They're involved in a title race and I spend a lot of time there. It's disappointing when people mention integrity and aim it towards me or Aston Villa or any of my players. We'll go out at the weekend and we'll give it everything we've got to try and get points for Aston Villa and our supporters. If that inevitably helps Liverpool, fantastic. But my priority is to try and get points for Aston Villa. We've got world-class players and a top manager, but there's a lot of pressure on them at the weekend. And, we'll go there as best prepared we can. We'll try and be as organised as we can and try and make it as difficult as we can. Why? Because we want to be in a better place than 14th and we need some more points.
Well, Steven Gerrard said all of that with a bit of a smile on his face, Tim. But put it this way, for Manchester City, a win guarantees them the title at home, in front of their fans. Can you see it going any other way?
Well, no, I can't. I think they're getting the job done. I think you give them the opportunity to have 2 games at the end of the season, need to win 1, and that's exactly where we are. I think they just will get over the line. I think they've got their threats, Villa, going forward. Yeah, interestingly, he rested Coutinho the other night and Danny Ings. 2 ex-Liverpool players. Now, can they come back? Have they got enough? I just don't think they have. But you know why? Because they're so bad defensively. Yeah. I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're good enough to keep out this Man City attack for 90-odd minutes. So they've done it before as well. If they win this time, it's 4 out of the last 5 seasons for Man City. It's not as if they're going to be nervous going into it. They know how to get over the line. They've been course and distance, and I expect them to do it again. Yeah,
and you talk about former Liverpool players. We've got one right in the studio here. You know Steven Gerrard very well. How motivated will he be to upset things at the Etihad?
Yeah, I like what he says because I was at the Villa-Liverpool game. And there was nothing that I saw in that game that suggested that he didn't want Villa to beat Liverpool. If there was an opportunity to give Liverpool the title or a better chance of title, it would have been to play a weakened side, not put in the performance. But they were trying to beat. I know they lost the game in the end, but it wasn't for the want of trying. And I just imagine that, having seen what I saw last night, they're going to do the same thing again. They're going to go for the game and try and win it in the right way. Will they do it? Cancelo. You got it in my head now, Jules. I think City have got the armament to cause problems. Like Tim said, defensively, I think Villa will have problems.
Andy, as a journalist, couldn't be written more perfectly as a narrative if Aston Villa were to upset things and that be done by their manager, who's a Liverpool legend.
I think that's fair to say. I think what makes it interesting is if you look at the 2 games next to each other, I think Villa have got a better chance of doing something at City than Wolves have at Liverpool. And that's what makes it interesting. Because I think if you take it over the entirety of the season, Wolves have had a good season. They should be there fighting it out for those European places. And, we talked about how much is in play in this final day. There should be even more, really, because Wolves have lost 6 in a row. They've been awful in recent weeks. If they'd have just defended as they had done for the rest of the season over those last couple of weeks, they would be going into this with something to prove. But they're in terrible nick. I think Liverpool will beat them quite comfortably. And that means it's all on the Manchester City match. And because the City are in front, that's the way round that you want it to be. That sets it up really perfectly for us.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? Well, let's talk a little bit about Manchester City and what they could potentially achieve should they win this title. You said it, Tim, 4 in the last 5 seasons. I mean, just put into perspective how big an achievement that would be.
Well, on paper, when you look from the outside, you know, someone looking in from a different country will see, well, that's predictable, that league, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't tell the whole story. Obviously, it's so competitive. You know, they've had their hiccups and Liverpool pushed them so close, but 4 out of 5 is quite dominant. You know, we make fun of other leagues when you see the Real Madrids winning all the time, or Celtics in Scotland and Porto's in Portugal. You know, we think our league is the best in the world. We do believe it, and I think it is, but that is a dominant stat. You know, this guy is just a phenomenon. He's come to the Premier League. He didn't win anything in his first year, and people were quite pleased about that. So I know a lot of ex-managers were thinking, good, he can't come here playing his tiki-taka football and win. It's not that easy. Well, it is. It is that easy because he's such a genius. Yes, they give him the tools to work with. In the transfer market, he gets what he wants. But he's also got to make them work. He's got to make them play, and they entertain and they win. And that is such a dominant stat. Not only that, Erling Haaland's coming in next year. So is he the final piece in the jigsaw for them to win? I mean, he's going to make them stronger to win it again next year and the Champions League. So, listen, brilliant for that group of players. I can only admire them. But the way they go about playing, you know, and don't try and spoil any game. They always go out and try and entertain us, try and score as many goals as they possibly can. Top scorers in all over Europe. Brilliant. And they deserve all the credit they get.
As a European journalist, Andy, how is Pep Guardiola's success in the Premier League viewed outside of this country?
Well, it's really impressive. I think people are really impressed by it. But on the other hand, the Champions League thing is hanging over him a little bit. You know, now it's been 11 years since he's won a Champions League title. I get the impression that irritates him more than it irritates Manchester City fans. I mean, and this was something that was talked about quite extensively when he was at Bayern Munich. I mean, from the outside, as Tim was saying before, when he was at Bayern, you know, he inherited a team that was treble winners, and then they didn't even get to a Champions League final in the time that he was there. But the quality of the football, and sometimes I think we have to bring ourselves back to that, to understand that those fans who pay to see Manchester City every week have been absolutely spoiled. You know, they've had an absolute all-time high in terms of the football they've seen. And he's changed the Premier League, really. Him and Jurgen Klopp together have changed the Premier League.
And this season, David, who would you say have been Manchester City's standout players? Is it difficult to pick one?
Yes, on the basis that rotation's the key for Pep Guardiola. I mean, when you look at that attack, I'm trying to number put a number on the number of attackers they've got, maybe 10, 15, whatever. Kevin De Bruyne will score the most goals, but when you look at he's not even on. Yes, Bernardo Silva, he's played the most games, and Rodri is those attacking 6 positions, if you like. Everyone else is roughly around 22, 23 games. So the rotation's been massive. So to pick a best player would be very difficult. Just going on goal tally, of course, and sometimes the influence of Kevin De Bruyne is amazing. But I just think the strength of the squad is what gives them, you know, they win the game tomorrow on Sunday, then, you know, the strength of the squad is what gives them success, not any individual player, which I think is the beauty of Man City and Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, can you pick a player of the season for Man City, Tim?
Oh, listen, it's just because it's topical. For the last month, De Bruyne has just been out of this world. I mean, we always say it. I think there's large parts of this season when they haven't missed anyone. I mean, no matter who was missing, they could always bring someone in and it would be seamless. I just think at the moment, if you want one player, he grabbed that game. Now, that game at Wolves, he grabbed it by the scruff of the neck and said, I'm going to win this game for us. You follow me if you want. And he took it upon himself. I mean, he scored that hat-trick, like with his left foot in record amount of time, apart from the Sadio Mane one against my side, Aston Villa, which
that was a quick one.
I always forget. Yeah, I always forget that one. So I think Kevin's got the record, but brilliant. I mean, to be able to do that. So I think at the moment you wouldn't want to miss him. He's absolutely top draw, and I'm sure he'll be starting tomorrow.
We're not having some love for Bernardo here. I mean, I think he's just had an incredible season. And bear in mind that he would have gone last summer. You know, he spoke to the club and said, look, I've had a great time here, but I want to go and try something else. And there's just not the landing spot because of the financial situation, mainly at Real Madrid and Barcelona. There's nowhere really else for him to go. But he's not had a sulk about it. He's gone out there and played his best season for Manchester City. When you consider his ability, the different roles he can play in the front three, in midfield, he has been incredible, I think.
So versatile, hasn't he? Heading into this final game as well, David, they are boosted, Manchester City, by the return of some defensive players. And watching the West Ham game, their fans will say, well, we needed that. Walker and Stones both going to be available for this game. How much of a boost is that for them?
Well, let's see how fit they are, because Walker returned for the Champions League and then was substituted, 60 minutes, 50 minutes into the game, which compromises Pep's plan, if you like, that he's got to rotate or bring someone else on. But if he's fit and can do 90 minutes, massive boost. Absolutely love him. When he plays it reminds me of Usain Bolt when he was playing him in that charity match, although probably quicker than Usain Bolt was, But again, when you're looking at Aston Villa and what Man City have got, Bernardo Silva, it's more about control. I can't see them having to do massive amounts of defending.
OK, well, look, the trophy, as we've seen in the studio, has blue ribbons on it now. Will they still be blue on Sunday?